hitting it from the back, Lil Hunt Man.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or S Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all. Got a new topic. November 19th. Terence Crawford has never seen a rival of this magnitude. Errol Spence Jr. Alright, y'all, so reports are surfacing. Things are trickling down the pipeline that the fight is this close to being signed. Now, I know we've heard this like 67 other... It seems like the end of every month, the fight's almost signed. And everybody starts reporting that the fight's almost signed. Like I've told y'all in the past, I'm not 100% so either way, whether it's going to happen this year or whether it doesn't happen this year. You know, to me, at this point, it doesn't matter if it happens this year or next year. I just want it to happen. I don't care when. Just make it happen. But on another note, I don't believe Terence Crawford has ever had a rival or a rivalry or even a fight of this magnitude. Now, I know some people will say, well, he had the undisputed fight at 140, at this and that at 130. Good fights, big fights for the times, you know, that were when he did them. Good money he made off of them. None of those fights were as big as this fight is. The higher you go up in weight, the bigger the fights are going to be. So if these guys went from 147 to 154, whoever wins, if they do make a jump to 154 and they can actually make a decent showing of themselves at 154 and maybe even fight for some titles or even undisputed, it's going to be even bigger than this situation is. Whoever they face off with is going to be bigger than this situation is. So I don't think that Terence Crawford has had a rivalry or a fight of this magnitude yet in his boxing career. And I think that it's going to play out in the ring. I think that people are saying that Errol Spence needs to pressure Terence Crawford for Spence to win. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think Errol Spence has to do the pressuring. I think because he's the naturally bigger, stronger, more powerful of the two guys, I think it's going to be up to Terence Crawford to use his speed, his technique, his ring IQ, and any other boxing attribute he can use to pressure Errol Spence Jr. into making a mistake. And I know people, even myself, I've said in the past that Errol Spence moves like a mummy. He's a big, slow, clunky welterweight. There's no skill there. I've never said that he doesn't have skill. I have said he moves like a mummy. He's a big, clumsy, clunky welterweight. But I was comparing him to Pacquiao. You know, that was in preparation of a Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao being one of the quickest boxers to ever lace up the gloves. I definitely did believe at the time that speed would outdo Errol Spence. Terence Crawford being a different style of fighter than Pacquiao, not being as quick, doesn't have as much ring IQ, doesn't have as much experience, doesn't have as much skill or talent as a Pacquiao. But definitely has all those things in his own right, just doesn't do them like a fighter of the caliber of Manny Pacquiao. Now, does that mean that Crawford can't win this fight? I've never said once that he can't win. I just feel like it's going to take some type of a miracle for him to win, or it would take for Errol Spence to have the worst fight of his life to lose that fight. Is it possible? It's very possible. Anything's possible when you step into a boxing ring. Either one of these guys really have a 50-50 shot at winning. But if you ask me, in my opinion, because Errol Spence has been the one challenging himself in the welterweight division in which this fight is going to happen, the welterweight division, not 130, not 140, 147, since he is much more seasoned as a welterweight, has fought twice the amount of champions as a welterweight that Terence Crawford has fought. I have more confidence in Errol Spence winning the fight for those reasons. And I think on top of that, I think that there is now bad blood between these two guys because of the negotiation process. There's been a lot of things that have been said back and forth, personal things. I think it's become a personal rivalry as well as an athletic rivalry, or just a rivalry within a division. I do believe that Errol Spence is going in with some bad intentions. And I think because of the type of guy that Terence Crawford is, he can lead with anger and not lead with constructive anger. Anger is good if you're constructive with it, if you're using it to achieve a goal. If you're going in just straight angry, like I'm gonna solve this whole problem with anger, and my anger and frustration and the fact that I've bulked up is going to win me the fight, I think he's in for a mollywhopping. If he goes in with some constructive anger and it's focused anger, and he's using that anger to motivate him to do a certain thing, then he might overcome Errol Spence and actually win the fight. But I think experience trumps all. This is the reason why I favored Manny Pacquiao over both of those guys. And I know people hate to hear that because everybody hates Pacquiao for some reason at this point. And they keep saying that he got whooped by Ugas. Ugas didn't even knock this. Ugas is twice this guy's size and couldn't even knock him down. So for all you people who are saying Ugas whooped him, you guys are just like, it's funny. It's comical and funny, and I understand that there's a whole segment of boxing fans and just humans in general that are complete clowns and that need to try to turn everything into a circus for them to prove a point. But once again, it's going to take a heck of a performance from Terence Crawford to win this fight. And it's going to take a heck of a bad performance for Errol Spence to lose this fight. And at the end of the day, I do believe that experience trumps all. And Manny Pacquiao, I think, had the experience to beat both of those guys, given the right circumstances, given that he wasn't just thrown into a ring with him on a 2-week notice. He would have beaten either one of those guys. And I think with the months and months and months of preparation, Errol Spence Jr. being the bigger, stronger, more experienced welterweight, I definitely think that he has the advantage in this fight. Could Terence Crawford still win? He could possibly still win. I mean, they've been preparing for this fight for umpteen months now, so it's not like both of these guys aren't prepared for what's coming into the ring across from them. But somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to win. Unless, once again, unless we get a stalemate like Maypac, or we get a split decision or some type of weird decision at the end of this fight. I get a draw, you know. Barring that, I do feel like somebody's going to win this fight and win decisively. And who's going to have the egg on their face after November? I know a lot of Crawford fans are praying and hoping and all this stuff that Terence Crawford wins so they can brag and gloat and all this stuff to the Errol Spence Jr. fans or whatever. I know it's plenty of people who subscribe to my channel just so they can come over here and try to gloat if Errol Spence loses. Like, I care. Like, I really don't care. I'm gonna have a good laugh at it. We can argue back and forth, but I'm gonna move on to the next fighter. But at the end of the day, it's been fun, man. I can't wait for this fight to happen. Can't wait to see who actually wins. Let's go, Spence. Even though you ducked Pacquiao, let's go, Spence. That's it for now, man. I think I'm done rambling. Yeah, I'm done rambling. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal, Bud, Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are...
Riding with a Glock 23, little jump, man.